What would the impact to the air quality be to me and my family living in Morgan Hill? And would I truly hear it, see it, feel it? These are the questions that I had back when I received a presentation from both the Liberty Quarry folks as well as the opposition at a Wine Growers Association meeting. I was told by the opposition that the quarry will result in a significant increase of cancer risk to the residents of Temecula, Red Hawk, and Morgan Hill. And I was also unbelievably told that digging a hole in the canyon would create earthquake risks for us here in the valley. The misinformation that I've heard surrounding the quarry debate reminds me of Colonel Robert Gibbon Johnson's and a controversy he had to deal with. And I do this not to be light, but just to add a little bit, or not to be, well, to be a little bit light, but not to be disrespectful to the arguments that are presented to and fro. In this, see over here? Can you read it?
No. Not very well. All right.
All right, in this bag,
stumble through it.
Yeah, in this bag, I have an object so dangerous that at the time, the vast majority of the public believed, truly believed, including doctors at the time, that if consumed, you would probably drop dead right then and there because it would turn your blood into acid. Your appendix would explode, and if you were one of the lucky few, you would probably die of stomach cancer from the skins from this item. Colonel Robert Gibbon Johnson, he was not swayed by the mass hysteria of the public. He wanted to look at the facts. And he researched, and he learned what really was true. And what he did on September 26, 1820 at high noon, he stood on the courthouse steps in Salem, New Jersey, in front of thousands who had gathered to watch what they believed to be his suicide. And he reached in and he ate a tomato. The public can be very fickle, and sometimes they don't quite understand what's really good for them and what's not. And what I ask you, and what I ask all of you, is to let's be intellectually honest about this particular project. If we are, I think you will conclude that the project will not cause significant risk of cancer. The sky will not turn black with dust, nor will Temecula be swallowed up by earthquakes. Like Colonel Johnson's tomato, the benefits of the project outweigh the potential problems, all of which can be adequately mitigated. The planning department has apparently come to the same conclusion that I reached. In looking at the EIR, I've cited various pages from the EIR that support my conclusion, and I believe also support the county or the planning department's conclusion. The city of Temecula at the border will experience a 0.04% of PM10 at their border. As another speaker suggested, the real danger to the Temecula residents is not this Liberty Quarry, it's the 15 freeway. If we're really concerned about our health, we're going to shut the 15 freeway down, but we all know that's not going to happen because we can't, and the benefits outweigh the negatives. But a 0.04% or 0.4% is insignificant. More importantly, the benefits that were going to be created by this project to reduce 56.5 tons per year of NOx, that's what we need to be looking at. The other thing that I would also like to point out is there's a misunderstanding amongst the people that look at this project, and that is they're looking at the project site and not really looking at what's going to happen where we're at. Sure, You dig in a hole, there's going to be effects locally, but in Temecula, in Red Hawk, in Morgan Hill, the effects are insignificant. Lastly, because I am concerned about photosynthesis in the vineyard, the EIR supports the fact that even at the border of the quarry, there's going to be less than 10% of the minimum amount that would affect photosynthesis. So, all right, in conclusion, I strongly encourage this Planning Commission to strip away the emotion, the anger, and look at the facts. Thank you.
Thank you. David Thompson.
It's not easy being green. This time it is. Chairman, Commissioners, my name is David Thompson. I'm a local business owner. I've lived here 24 years. I live out in wine country. Liberty Quarry is desperately needed because of the critical shortage of aggregate in our region. I'm a pool contractor, and I have seen firsthand how my prices have jumped due to the fact that building materials are becoming harder to acquire. It's basic economics. As supply dwindles and demand grows, prices will go up. Pair that with the need to begin importing materials from elsewhere, and the problem is compounded. Liberty Quarry will provide us with a local source of aggregate that will be able to help meet the growing needs of our region. Hopefully I will be a benefactor of that. Quarries can't be built just anywhere. They have to be in locations with the right rock. And the State Mining and Geological Board has said that Liberty Quarry is one of the best sites in California for aggregate. Communities take advantage of their natural resources and ensure that businesses have what they need to serve their customers. Without a local source of aggregate, businesses like mine will continue to see prices rise as building materials become more and more expensive to ship. Approving Liberty Quarry is the right choice for Riverside County and will serve to benefit the county and local businesses alike. I ask the Commissioners, please vote to approve Liberty Quarry. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Matt Pfeffer, and hold on, let's get a reload going here. Robert Fox. Robert here. No. Roxy Jean. Not here. Malcolm Driggs. It's a late night to get to. Monteforte Anthony. Okay. Hang on, let's keep working here. Joyce Brazil. Is Joyce here? Richard Brady. Okay, Mike Bertetto. Please come up. Kim Joseph Cousins. And the last one, slip that I have is Rick Reese. The two here. I guess not. You guys will finish off the opponent speakers for the evening. Okay, Matt, you're up.
My name is Matthew Pfeffer. I've been a resident of Temecula and Fallbrook for a quarter of a century. I'm in favor of the Liberty Quarry for the following reasons, which you've heard often. It saves money. The aggregate will be closer to the city for municipal and private use. Helps the environment. I mean, less diesel will be burned to transport aggregate to Temecula and surrounding areas. Creates jobs. We need more jobs to stimulate the local economy. And the decision, I understand, and choice before you is serious and a difficult one. I urge you to read the EIR. You must decide whether the science displayed is true. There's just a tremendous amount of misinformation out there, and the question is, where is the misinformation? Personally, I really don't know how you determine who's telling the truth after you're listening to those who are against this project and all the things that they've come up with. I know that it's an extremely difficult task, but we all rely upon you to come to the bottom of it and make a decision that is based upon the truth and science and what's going to be a benefit to this community. I believe that the project should exceed allowable limits or measures, that measures will be taken to correct any excesses. And I believe that the benefits outweigh the negative impacts. I urge you to approve this project and ignore bad science.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to call one more time for Laura Bruno. Is she here? Apparently not. Okay. Thank you. Forte Anthony, your turn.
Thank you. My name is Anthony Monteforte. I own a home in Forte, Sonora by Temecula Valley High School here in Temecula. I have 4 children. I want to thank you guys for doing this. Thank you for your service. I'm sure this is very stressful for you professionally as well as personally. And it's kind of stressful for me too, as I stand here kind of in opposition of a lot of the people that were here, at least their point of view and my neighbors and friends. I'm a 3rd generation American. My family came here from Sicily. And in Sicily there's an old saying which I think is appropriate to this conversation. From dirty hands comes clean money. And I stand here in support of the American worker, in support of American business, in support of American industry. And I support this project, and I ask that you would too. Many of my friends and neighbors here, well, not a lot left, very, I think, sincerely and emotionally and eloquently expressed their fears about this, which I understand, I think we all can. Well, I have a fear too, which will be my final point that I wanted to bring up with you, and that is California has a terrible reputation in the business community. People don't want to hear that, but that's the truth. Of any survey of businessmen, any survey of corporations, people that are in charge of finding places for business, California ranks towards the bottom, if not the bottom of all those surveys. And my fear is that a disapproval of this project, coupled with the zeal of the opposition, coupled with the attention that this has been getting, is just going to send a message to investors and corporate boardrooms and captains of industry throughout the country that California is not open for business, that California is not supportive of industry, that California is not a good place to invest money. So I would ask that you support this. Again, thank you for having this meeting. I think this is great. God bless America.
Thank you, sir. Mike Loretto.
My name is Mike Bertetto. I'm a property owner out here in the wine country, and I just heard about this meeting this morning on the radio, so I don't have anything prepared, but I have read in the paper many times where the sensationalism, and we experienced a lot of that tonight, where some of the facts were just didn't really apply to this project. It's my understanding from my own experience that these mining operations are very high-tech, and they keep the dust down better than most all the farmers do, or the grape growers when they drive their tractors down the dirt roads. That's creating silica dust, and they're not watering the roads like these mine will be doing. And the trucks, then nobody wants to truck very far. There's going to be reduced trucks just because if it's closed, that's where it's going to go. And it's going to encourage business of all different sorts, not just your local restaurants and stuff. Other businesses will come, like cement molding companies, roofers, fence molding casters, all kinds of businesses that would come to that area because of the availability of the resource that they use a lot of. And I would remind you all as your county representatives that you should take into account the whole county, not just one little portion of it. And I would just ask the people that are against this that they are sensationalizing, and this affects the property value, because in the mind's eye of many people, they will believe the tale, and the tale gets told over and over, and it's all distorted, and it's very negative, and it's not true to this project. And that will stay with our community long after this project's been approved, which I believe it should be. And that's probably worse than the reality. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I have no other proponents, speaker slips at this time. Is there anyone else that's wishing to testify in favor of this project? Okay, we have had a number of people in the proponents that were not here tonight, but I do have one person that claims to be neutral. And I don't know if she's still here. It looks like Leigh D. Bernardo. Are you here? Is Bernardo? Apparently not. Okay, so my proposal at this time is we have a number of people that did not get to speak in the affirmative tonight. And we've got many more that didn't get to speak against the project. I think that we may be able to get through the proponent testimony in, I don't know, maybe fairly short order if we don't have a lot of outbursts on May the 3rd. So what I'd like to do is try to do that first on May the 3rd and possibly get that out of the way. Unless, can you come forward, Mr. Johnson, and let me know what you had planned? Are you going to present rebuttals on May the 3rd, or what is your general plan at this time?
I can do whatever the wishes are of the commission. We can have their consultant. I do have one consultant that has to be out of town for a couple of weeks after May 3rd, and that's our air consultant. So if you have questions of the air consultant, I would encourage you to have them ready at that time. I will have Mr. Urbis there to speak, and he can rebut some of the things we've heard tonight.
All right. Well, I guess it would depend on how many questions we've got as to how long it may take him. But I guess I would think that you may not want to even hold your rebuttal until you hear all of this opposition testimony and get that. So we can take the people that did not get an opportunity to testify in favor tonight, assuming they're here, and any new ones that have come in. We went through this, I would say, in probably an hour and 40 minutes or so, or less. So that went fairly rapidly, and maybe get your air quality person's input on it, and then go to the opposition again, because as you saw, there's a big stack of opposition there, and I'd certainly like to get all the testimony in, and I'd like for you to hear all the testimony before we listen to your rebuttal.
Certainly, and we do want to listen to that before we start the rebuttal.
Okay.
So I will have our air quality consultant there if you want to ask him any questions, and if he can't, if you want to save questions for a later meeting, then he has somebody else on standby that can stand in for him. But he is the one that prepared most of the analysis that was used in the EIR.
All right. Well, I think that makes sense. I don't know how you comments from anybody else on the commission?
I have a question.
You have a question?
Yeah.
Mr. Ford?
Did you say that the format would be that we listen to any supporters of the project first,
Yes.
and then rebuttals, and
No,
Then the opposition?
I don't think we want the rebuttal at this time. I think we want the rest of the supporters of his air, and if we can do it first, because from everything that I can see right now, unless we have unless you're going to bus in people next week or something to testify, I think we can probably get through the proponent's testimony. I believe we can do that in less than 2 hours, and what that means to me is we would possibly have a lot more time to get through opponent's testimony. So,
my thinking would be that if his consultant is going to be gone for a couple of weeks after that, have the opposition speak first, so that you can incorporate any fair comments that they might have, so that he can be better prepared to respond to as many as possible.
I can almost assure you that from the number of speakers we got through tonight, and the number of speakers that we have yet to service, we won't finish the testimony.
I'm not saying we're going to finish the testimony, but set a time limit as we did today.
Well, we did set a time limit, so I don't have to do that for 30, some out of 160 something. How many guys are on? We have an opposition. What's the last speaker slip number on that? Let's look at the back, the last slip there. I don't know what the number is. It's
156.
What is the
We're
third
not going
meeting?
to make it.
Yeah, what is the third meeting date reserved for?
What?
The third meeting date, what is that reserved for?
I don't think we've had a third meeting date discussed or reserved. How about the planning director? You can get right in the middle of this discussion.
Mr. Chairman, if I could, I think it's important and fair to let the proponents of the project supporters go first next time, get through that, go to the remainder of the opposition. If you get through all that in one evening time, if not, well, that's fine. We will have our air consultant there if you want to ask questions before the end of that hearing. If that does not occur, then at a future meeting, he can have one of his associates there to answer any of your questions.
You got any suggestions?
Mr. Chairman, the way I see this going, and the way I think that I would like to approach this project, I can see us going through a secret checklist. Air quality probably is number one on my list. And I can see air quality maybe taking several hours, given the level of detail that I really want to get into.